Hey folks, welcome back to Gaming Garbage, where we take a look at games, review and preview the ones that we can, chat about the gaming news in the industry, and of course stream for fun. Today we're going to be working on doing the gaming news for this last week. So there isn't as much on this one. I'm going to go over a few things with Starfield, though no spoilers, PlayStation Plus changes, something with Borderlands, Baldur Gate 3 news, just to make sure that it's out there, and then stuff with the folks that made Saints Row. And then a little bit about the channel at the very end. So yeah, first up is Baldur Gate 3. I just want to make sure I'm getting this out there. I think I also talked about this last week, but Baldur Gate 3 will be coming to Xbox later this year. Larian Studios has been working with Microsoft to ensure that they can actually release the game on Series S and X, and one of Microsoft's rules that they have is that they want the game to be the same across both the S and the X, and that's a pretty big issue with some devs because the S doesn't have the same hardware as the X does, and so the S can't compute as well as the X, and so you start getting into frame rate issues or crashes and that kind of thing. And studios, including Larian, have wanted to make adjustments so that it runs good on the S and also runs good on the X. But Microsoft wants the games to be the same. So Larian has finally gotten approval from Microsoft, to be kind of a case study to say, hey, yeah, your game is basically doing so well, we're going to let you make the adaptations that you want. And the biggest adaptation that they're changing is that split screen will not be on Series S, but it will be on Series X. So without the split screen feature, things will be able to run smoother on S. They'll be able to maintain a more stable frame rate. And so Larian is excited about this. They've been working on this, I think, for just about all year with Microsoft. And they're like, well, your game's going to be delayed then until I guess we can figure it out. And I kind of wonder if they were just like, hey, we're just going to kind of keep it in limbo until you change your mind. Because, you think about it, it's like the differences between the S and the X are still fairly substantial, hardware-wise, and what's capable with both consoles. And you kind of have to change your game quite a bit. Or remove some things, or reduce textures, or draw distance, something. You'd have to alter the state of your game and give a lesser version, and studios really don't want to do that. And that's not beneficial to the publishers either, because the publishers use the studios to basically make games and make money, and the publisher puts up a lot of the cash to actually create the game. So Microsoft is kind of working against the grain here, and even so, with all of this going on, Microsoft is still like, hey, the S is relevant, we're going to keep it going, and really, I just think they should pull it. If devs are having trouble, and you're having more and more devs that are saying and expressing, hey, we're having issues making it work on the S, because let's be serious, the dev kits that people got in 2018, or even 2017 maybe, the dev kits weren't the specs of the S. The dev kits were the specs of the X. And so, yeah, the pretty big difference there. And so they're like, well, this is how we can push the console. This is the type of games we can make. This is the size and scale we can make. And then the S comes out, and it's like, what the frick is that? Like, I can't make my game on that. And, we've had, 4 years now that the current gen consoles have been out. And yeah, the S is just holding back Microsoft. And I hope eventually that with this is that they'll quit focusing so much on the S. Nobody really wanted it anyway. I could see S's all day at the stores over the last several years, but an X was really hard to get a hold of. And X's were selling for $1,000, $1,100 on the free market, after people had bought them for $500. So that's like double the value. And PlayStation 5 was even worse than that. But yeah, people didn't want the S. A lot of people too tried selling them for cheaper so that they could use some of that money to upgrade to the X when they started becoming more available this year. But, well, man, you can find one now. Like, I've seen multiple weeks where you can find one. But yeah, Microsoft, honestly, in my opinion, they need to drop the S. and just be done. And then they made a whole nother version, which I think is so stupid. They've made a better version of the S. It's black. It's got a 1 terabyte in it, but all of the hardware is exactly the same. And I think that's really stupid. I think what they should have done is made the X with maybe some streamlined hardware. Ventilation is great. And then just expanded the hard drive from 1 terabyte to 2 terabyte. That's what I would have done. But yeah, they're still trying to boost the S, and gosh, it's just a waste of space. I still don't think people are going to buy it. I even saw a poll where it's just like most people were saying, no, I'm not going to buy the upgraded S because I still want the X because it's better. So yeah, it's all about computation, Microsoft. You need to get that through your head. Unless you're Nintendo, where it's all about your IPs, right? Because they've totally built a wonderful platform, and they try to keep the cost low. But even with Nintendo lately, it's like, okay, you need to kind of upgrade something because ports are so difficult to get over to Nintendo. But luckily, you guys are finally getting on the Switch a port for Borderlands 3 later this year, which is wonderful. You guys will be able to play that, and this also ties into the next thing I want to talk about, which is the Borderlands bundle. It's called Borderlands Pandora's Box. And if you're on PC, Xbox, or PlayStation, you can get all Borderlands games, all DLC, for right now for $60. And so that's Borderlands 1, 2, 3, the pre-sequel, Tales from the Borderlands, and new Tales of the Borderlands, and all DLCs for all 5 games for $60. The sale only lasts until the 4th. Today, I think, is the 3rd. It is. So you have until Monday night to make a decision, but you should be able to just plug right into your game store there and type in Pandora's Box, and it should show up. But yeah, I just bought mine yesterday and got everything downloaded. And yeah, I'm excited they finally made something like this. And these are the kind of ports or the kind of bundles I wish other companies would make. I wish they could actually take the time to kind of put everything together, give you all of the DLC too, and just have a base price. Just right there. That would be wonderful. But a lot of companies don't do that. So like the Red Dead Redemption 1 with Undead Nightmare, you don't get all the other DLCs. And it's $50. It's like, why would I do that when I can buy just the Game of the Year edition on 360 for $30 and I can still get everything? And they didn't upgrade any textures, they didn't upgrade any packs, they didn't improve the game in any way. They're just, re-releasing for some extra money, which that sucks. I'm pretty sure too at some point where we've seen some kind of rebundling of some Assassin's Creed games, but I think eventually we're going to get some rebundling of Assassin's Creed from Ubisoft in the next few years as they work on Assassin's Creed Infinite. And who knows what that mess is going to look like. I'm not overly excited. I am excited to talk about it on the channel. I think that'll be great. Also, we're seeing Metal Gear Solid. They're rebundling stuff and selling it to us. And again, they're not redone. There's no improvements. There's no redoing of any of the textures or resolutions or anything. It's just stock from, 10, 12 years ago. And then they're just reselling it to you. And again, for the most part, I'm okay with that. But like Borderlands, I want the entire thing, right? I want all of it. Give me the whole freaking thing. Instead, what Metal Gear Solid is doing, Konami, they're just giving it to us in volumes. So right now we have Volume 1 that's going to come out in October, and I'm sure Volume 2 is going to come probably next year, or maybe the year after. Hopefully, probably next year. And that'll be relation with their Delta game that they're making, which is just a remake of the game that we already bought probably a few times by now since it's been out on PlayStation 2. And but yeah, they're not actually making any new story or new content with Metal Gear Solid. They're just remaking stuff. Yeah. So I don't know. That's a little pet peeve of mine. But yeah, Borderlands 3 is going to be on Switch, and then Borderlands Pandora's Box you can get for $60 instead of $150, and that comes out September 4th. Also, we found out that PlayStation Plus is going to be getting a price increase this month, September. Yay! Isn't that exciting? The price goes into effect on September 6th. So just a few days away, folks. If you want... well, let me go through the changes first. So Essentials is normally $60. It's going to go to $80. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Extra is going to go from $100 to $135. And then Premium is going to go from $120 to $160. Oh my word. And Premium is like the equivalent of Xbox's Game Pass. Which if you bought all of Game Pass... if you got Game Pass Ultimate and you paid it normal price, $17 a month for that long, it'd be $204. So that's still more expensive, quite a bit more expensive. That's another $44 more than what you would pay for Premium on PlayStation. But still, at least you get the day one exclusives. PlayStation isn't adding anything to these services. They're just adding the price. Just adding more money to the price tag for you to pay. Just because. Because it's fun. Because they need money, folks. Lately, all of their stuff they've been pushing, like the PlayStation Portal and PlayStation VR 2 and their sound system stuff, nobody's been buying it. Their sales numbers are really bad. And they're focusing a lot on their equipment, which is great, but I feel like they're kind of getting to a point of where it's kind of, just like Alienware or Hyper, or kind of like like Apple or something, where they're just super focused on just creating an economy that is exclusive from everything else. And so even the Portal, we found out, is if you want to have audio with your Portal, your handheld Portal, then you have to buy their headset or their earbuds, which is an extra $150, $200 respectively. And there's no Bluetooth. You can't use your own Bluetooth, right? And who wants to do that in this recession? Spend another, oh my gosh, folks. Spend another $200 for the Portal just so you can walk around playing your video game while you're pooping. And also buy another $150, $200 just to be able to hear what you're playing while you're pooping. I mean, folks, this is getting ridiculous. That's basically an extra $350, $400 for what? They are not going to sell that stuff. Unfortunately. And I feel like, too, they really tried kind of going the Switch route. But Nintendo's done it right. And they know they did because of the number of consoles that they sold. But yeah, that is just kind of a mess. So now PlayStation Plus is, getting this price increase. So again, this goes into effect on September 6th. That's literally just a few days away. If you want to, you can stack up your subscription. And you can prepay up to 4 years. At least that's what I heard from folks. You also want to make sure to check your auto renewal. And if you don't want to auto renew this, or you want to think about it or something, then you can check that off. But if you basically upgrade or downgrade anything, then you're going to get the new price. So you want to make sure you stack all of your subscription before the 6th. And then don't change anything for as long as you've stacked. Just leave it exactly the same, because as soon as you do, it's going to adjust stuff. Get all of this stuff worked out. Also, you can look at Amazon for service cards. Get those redeem codes, maybe for a little cheaper, or even buy some of those ahead of time for the future years. And those redeem codes should still work because of what you paid. And the redeem code should still allow you to just get that added service, because that's what the code's for. So that's kind of a way to circumvent a little bit. And this too is going to be a global price change. So it doesn't matter if you're in Canada, Saudi Arabia, Russia, South Africa. It doesn't matter where you are. This is everybody on the 6th. And so, man, that sucks. That really sucks. Also, too, something that I have tried, which I'm getting Xbox. I was able to get Xbox Live cheaper for myself, is I use G2A.com. That's just 2 letters and a number. G2A.com. I'm not selling this. I don't get some benefit or whatever. But these do have cheaper prices on their website, and they're able to get it cheaper. The thing is that it does seem and feel a little sketchy, but some people on Reddit like it. I liked it. I haven't had any issues with the credit card that I used. I wouldn't use your debit card anyway. Use a credit card. It's a whole lot easier to get that, quote, money back. Or use a prepaid. Just protect yourself completely. You can get one at Walmart or Fred Meyer or Target. They have these prepaid credit cards. Basically, you just pay a fee to put the money on, just like $1 or $2, and then you just pay in cash what you want to go on the card, and then they'll put that on the card for you. And prepaid credit cards are great for gifts and all that too. But yeah, these you can get cheaper prices, and so I know they have PlayStation Plus on there, and so yeah, you can see what they have. But to give you an example, instead of $60 for a year for Xbox Live, I could get it for like $36. So big price change. Big price change. So yeah, that's G2A.com. I still haven't had anything nefarious with my card. It's been over a month now, and yeah, I'll probably be using them again, to be honest. But again, if you really want to protect yourself, just get a prepaid credit card. That way there's no issue, and that's probably, now that I'm thinking about it, I'll probably do that myself next time I buy. But hey, at least you guys get some more games for, PlayStation Plus. You get Saints Row and Black Desert. Frick yeah. Which, now we gotta talk about Saints Row, because the dev studio Volition is going to be shut down effective immediately. And so they've made some other games which did pretty good, but boy, Embracer Group has just not seen the numbers they wanted from Saints Row, and so Volition is being shut down. And two, we got to think about on the economic side. The economy is not just squishing consumers, folks. It's squishing companies. It's squishing the banks. It's squishing hedge funds and etc. It's squishing everybody. Whether you want to believe it or not, that's okay, but there's plenty of data out there to indicate that everybody is struggling financially right now, and that's why we're getting these price changes. Like PlayStation Plus. Also, Disney Plus is going to get a price change in October. So yeah, keep a lookout for that one. And I wouldn't be surprised if there were price changes to your car insurance, if there were changes to your mortgage insurance, if there were changes to your interest rate on your credit card going up. I mean, these are things I've already seen, folks. At least on my end. I've seen it in my car insurance. I've seen it in my home. I've seen it on the interest rates on my cards. Yeah. And so if we're getting squished in all directions, so is everybody else. While we're asking for higher wages. Yes. So anyway, eventually someone's going to be left holding the bag, and make sure you're just working for a company that isn't going to be holding that bag. Because if they need to, they'll lay off some folks. But there's been a lot of companies actually declaring bankruptcy right now. So yeah, Volition is going to be shut down, and don't know what's going to happen with all of those people. Don't know if they're getting any kind of a severance package. This was just kind of shushed under the rug, so to speak. Embracer Group really doesn't want to talk about this because they already know that they said, hey, yeah, even though it's not as great, Volition isn't going anywhere, but Embracer Group has reevaluated with the recession, and yeah. I feel bad for those devs too, because it's probably not their fault in most cases. I still think that a lot of the administration and the suits at the top of a company have a lot of say, and sometimes too much. and they're supposed to lead, they're not supposed to control. And so yeah, I feel bad for the devs because a lot of times they're just like, well, I'm forced to do something I don't agree with or don't want to make, or there's other issues too within a company like we've been hearing over the last several years, and then the games turn out like trash. So we're not happy, they don't make money, and then the devs are ultimately the ones that pay for it. So even if you're a designer out there, or you're some kind of artist or whatever, or you're a dev or a programmer, man, be careful in the digital space, because some groups too are just getting taken over, and some people I personally know they've been losing their jobs to AI software and to other programs. They're like, yep, we're no longer needed. We can have a program do this. That's a heck of a lot cheaper than paying you your wage, paying you severance, paying you time off, paying you 401k. A program doesn't need any of that. So if you're in a digital space for a job, just be leery of that. Be careful of that, and get ready for hard times. And if you have, boy, share below, please. Let other people know, because yeah, this isn't just a gaming entertainment channel, folks. We care about you here, and as a community, we should respect people no matter what they're dealing with, and try to be supportive. Care a little bit more. It makes the world better. So yeah, I feel bad for these people, because yeah, they just got to deal with something that they didn't think they had to deal with. And it kind of seems like, too, it was just a smack in the face. They didn't even know it until the day of, and it's like, well, yeah, I guess I'm not going to work tomorrow. Yeah, that's rough. They got families, they got kids, they got bills, they got their own life. Man, that would be brutal. That would be brutal. But yeah, this is another example of just a bad game in a studio going down. And so we got the example of Gollum. Daedalic is now just going to publish only. We also got Forspoken. Luminous was shut down after Forspoken. And because, yeah, the game was so bad. We still don't have the release numbers for Forspoken. And we don't have the release numbers either for Gollum. They don't want to put them out there. They just want to move on. But again, this hurts the devs, folks. These hurts the employees and even the management. They're probably losing their job too. Because we're at a point in the recession where really it's just about money. And the company needs to be able to stay alive even if it's a shell of itself. That's still the goal. And so we're even losing some top management and creators in BioWare as they're trying to make Dragon Age Dreadwolf. And so yeah, too, if you're in a middle management job, don't think you're safe. Don't think you're safe. Honestly, there's a lot of stuff coming out. We actually had unemployment tick up a few tenths from last month. And yeah, just be aware, folks. Prepare for that rainy day, because it's more and more likely to happen as this economic data rolls out. But yeah, personally, I think with these studios, Volition, Daedalic, and Luminous, I think it's ultimately bad leadership. And I even see it at my own work, where it's like, folks should care a little more. The folks at the top should talk with the folks in the middle or at the bottom to see if something's going to work. And a lot of times they don't do that. And so it just creates animosity and frustration, and then, well, I don't care anymore because the company doesn't seem to care, and just that's been going around. Unfortunately, that's been going around. But yeah, work with your bosses, folks. Work with your bosses. We know that Saints Row cost them about $100 million to make the game. And Embracer Group has expressed that this will change how they approve of future projects and games in the future. And so yeah, this is brutal. And I don't think we're done seeing trashy games either. I don't think we're done, folks. I think we got more trash coming, unfortunately. And it's more content for this channel, but it's ultimately affecting people's lives. And, we even got Redfall, which I'm surprised kind of Arcane Studio didn't get more of a slap in the face for making such a bad game, or why it was even really pushed out in the first place. That was Yeah, that was pretty bad. And, you know, I'm glad nothing happened to the devs there, but I hope that's the wake-up call that they needed, along with the management. It's like, you know, the consumer is always right, folks. And this gets into the next topic that I'm going to chat about on the channel. Is I'm going to do a just a chatting video like this, where I'm going to go over why challenging games aren't really challenging anymore, and why that is such a difficult challenge to maintain, and how it's affected the gaming space, how it's affected the consumer base, you know, us as gamers, and how it's affecting studios too, because there's 3 examples right there of studios that didn't make it. You know, those devs are gone. And they got to find another job when it's tougher to find a job right now. And yeah, I feel for them. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. It's horrible being jobless. And it's scary. It is scary. But yeah, I don't think we're done seeing the trash, because I don't think some of these companies have felt enough pain. Like Square Enix, Ubisoft, EA, Activision, and Blizzard. I don't think they've felt enough. Because they're still wanting to push out live service, they're still wanting to monetize the crap out of everything, and even more so as they seem to release each next iteration of game. And we even know that Ubisoft is going to be wiping out multiple IPs just so they can make room for all of their Assassin's Creed stuff. You know, they got 6 Assassin's Creed projects, including Mirage, which is going to come out in October. But I canceled that one because it's like, I don't want to buy a game that's used to be a DLC and is only going to be 20 hours of gameplay, maybe. Like, I don't want that. And I don't want to pay $50 for that either. Maybe 30, maybe 40, but holy smokes. That's ridiculous. In Modern Warfare 3, it's the same thing. It was supposed to be DLC for Modern Warfare 2, and now we're paying $70 for it. Do I think it's bigger than what the DLC was originally going to be? Yeah, I'm sure they expanded it some. But again, how many missions do you think there really are? How many skins do you think? How much more time was spent on skins than focusing on actual gameplay and designing stuff? And do you think the guns are going to be any different? No. In fact, you're going to be able to port over some of the skins from Modern Warfare 2 into Modern Warfare 3. The level design is going to be a little different. It's going to be like a semi-open world, which I think is great. I think it's wonderful we're going to get that. But two, I think it's really frustrating in just how there's less quality, there's less content as a whole, and they're wanting us to pay more. And you know, it's technically not a scam because we're approving of it as a community. And we got to stop doing that. I mean, if any of you are frustrated with how the gaming space has been since COVID, you know, I mean, there were some slowdowns, there were some issues, there were lockdowns and stuff, people couldn't go to work, etc. But I mean, the general gaming space in the last few years has just been awful. It hasn't been built for us at all. It's just been a portal for us to hand them money. And that's what I'm going to talk about in my next video. Is because I think some of the community, some of the gamers, they just don't know. And part of this channel is to also educate too. I've been in the gaming space since '95. It's a long time. And I grew up with the NES, I grew up with the Super Nintendo, I grew up with the Game Boy, I grew up before 3D, which sounds insane. But yeah, I've gotten to see a lot. And the games today, it's just like, okay, this is getting to a point where this is going to cannibalize itself. This is going to destroy the industry. Just like what Sony's doing. Oh, we're going to stop Microsoft from buying Activision Blizzard because we need COD to stay alive. Oh, we're going to pay all of these devs and companies, you know, so that we can get first access. Oh, we're going to raise the price so that, you know, and give them nothing. Just because. You know, Microsoft did that, but they went from $50 to $60 in 2011. They didn't even go from 50 to $80. Or 50 to 70, right? It was an additional $10 for 12 months. And if you want to see that too, it's like it's an additional $20 for 12 months of service, which isn't a ton per month, but like you don't get anything. It's just a price increase to play multiplayer when you already got to spend $70 just to buy the game anyway. That's getting dumb. And these controllers, again, they're like 70, 80 bucks. I mean, holy smokes, folks. What's nice with Microsoft is I can still use my Xbox One controller on my Series X, and that's what I use. That's what I'm plugged into, jacked into with my headset right now. And it still works. I gotta do some maintenance on it. Like, replace some stuff, but that's a really nice feature. And when they made Ultimate, it's like, hey, you get day one access. Woo! That sounds great. I get to play Starfield literally in 3 days. I get Lies of P later in October. And I also get Payday 3 later this month. Plus whatever else is coming out for the next 13 months. Oh yeah, and I also get Forza. I mean, I'm excited to play some of those. And if there's enough exclusives that I actually want to play, I can see $17 a month being worth it. $200 a year. But it's still $200 a year, and that's about what I spend in gaming. But yeah, we're at an inflection point, folks. And especially during a recession, this is the most leverage that we have to apply to these companies to say, hey, we're not going to buy this anymore. We are demanding better stuff. Baldur's Gate 3, Hogwarts Legacy, Elden Ring, Armored Core 6, Tears of the Kingdom. Those are the games that we want. I would love those games, except just co-op campaign. That would be sweet. And some of those have that, which is great. But I want more co-op campaign myself. So yeah, vote with your money, folks. Apply the pressure. And some of these devs, unfortunately, they're having to pay the price for some of this. But yeah, if a game's bad, don't buy it. Don't pre-order. See what it is. See how it is. Don't trust the big professional reviewers either. Like IGN, Game Ranks, and GameSpot, and PC Gamer. Wait to see some actual gameplay from folks like you and me. And yeah, see if the game's actually worth it. So hopefully you guys are doing well. Man, hopefully none of you were in Florida. What a mess that is. Or Georgia or some of the Carolinas. They got swiped pretty big by Idalia. And we're not done either with hurricane season. We still got a little bit to go. But, and yeah, good grief, man. Some people also had some horrible tornadoes this year. And then, good grief, is this winter going to be bad? Up in the New England states? I don't know. But boy, just be aware, do a little bit of preparation. It's not a bad idea to be ready to go on a moment's notice. And the wildfires, good grief, man. The west side is just burning up. I didn't even know that Arizona and New Mexico could have so many fires. But yeah, they got a ton. I just thought it's basically desert out there. But yeah, they got wildfires too. And it's destroying stuff big time. And even in Canada, you guys got tons of wildfires. Doesn't seem as bad as last year. But yeah, just be aware, folks. Be aware of what's going on. Pay attention. I know it's boring, but it's not boring when it smacks you right on your doorstep. The flooding, the winds, the fires, the whatever else. So yeah, just do some preparation. Be prepared. Because, a little bit of preparation can go a long way when there's an emergency. So yeah, stay safe out there. And I'll see you guys on the next one.